morning, good night, all of that. Welcome back to MGE Table Talk, and Happy New Year, by the way. This is the first one we've done this year. I said on the last one that I was going to try to do more of these, and then we took like 2 months off from doing the podcast. But I mean, it was the holidays, and we were, we got busy. We got busy again, but we're gonna I'm pledging now. We're gonna do more of these. I hope. But welcome back. You really could have been doing anything else with your time, but you chose to tune in, watch, and or listen to the Table Talk podcast. So I really, really appreciate this. I don't know if y'all can tell, I'm really, really excited about today's guest because I get a chance to catch up with an old friend. She's embarked on her own independent journey, which, I'm just always a fan of seeing that too, because I'm all for waving the independent flag. Known her for like so many years. She's over here giggling at me right now. Reporter extraordinaire. I'm a put my own title on her. Reporter extraordinaire, Miss Kiran Chawla. How you doing?
You're gonna make me cry.
Really?
It takes me back to, I'm trying to think how long we've known each other. Almost 15 years.
Man, I know. We got started at one station, and
yes.
then you went to another station,
yes.
and then I left that station and went independent, and
yes.
And here we are still doing media for
when
lack of better words.
That bug bites, it bites.
Yeah, man. How you doing?
I am wonderful.
Okay.
I really am. God has been very, very, very good. Knock on wood.
Do a drum roll on that. Now, for those who may have been sleeping under a rock, tell the people out here, again, y'all should know who this is, but tell people a little background information on who you are and what you're about.
So I don't expect everybody to know me. That's not how I operate.
No,
but
they know you don't.
Kiran Chawla. I first ran into Baton Rouge 2006.
Was
7, something like that.
7.
See, I don't even remember. That's how long it's been. But when we first met is when I first moved to Baton Rouge, stayed at WVLA about a year, moved around, went to Jackson, Mississippi.
You did.
New Orleans. Isn't this sad that I have to sit there and ask you for help as to where I went? New Orleans, and then back here. Did WAFB for about 10 years, actually 9 years and 9 months exactly. And I was fired from there. And I'm not afraid to say that. I was fired from there. But the way I look at it, Terrence, is the amount of jobs I applied for back then. And you got to remember, COVID was deep back then. It wasn't what it is now. Back then, it was a true fear, and everything was shut down. The whole world was shut down. So nobody was hiring. I mean, people were trying their best to just hold on to the crews they have. So trying to find a job back then was next to impossible. And the way I look at it is like I was walking down a hallway, and I knocked on every door on the side there. And this is truly how I feel, that God was like, nope, not opening any of those doors. Not opening it. Keep going straight. And I did.
Let me just interject real quick. It's not that she's not qualified, because you're an award-winning reporter.
I am.
She tried to be modest about things, but I'm gonna go ahead and kind of toot her horn a little bit. She's an award-winning, and when I say award, she got a couple of Emmys, a couple of. Let me see the Murrow Award. It's a few prestigious awards out there, but she's award-winning journalist. Okay, continue. I just had to interject.
Thank you.
Just for the context of the conversation.
Thank you. So, as a human being, though, it takes a toll on you that the rug's been swept out from beneath you. I've been doing this for 20 years, and all of a sudden, I feel like I'm just not good enough. I'm not worthy of being a reporter, and I went in a very, very, very dark hole, and in a place that no human being should be. But I also had some time for me, for my family, for my friends, where right now life just seems so busy, there's no time. And finally, in February of last year, after I finished my last Zoom call, I say last because I was done at that point. Finished the Zoom call with a news director, and I saw the look on his face when I told him I was fired. It was his eyes just opened up. Well, I'm not going to lie to you. Right. I'm not going to lie at all and tell you, oh, yeah, I left. No, I'm going to be upfront and honest, which some people said, well, why are you sitting here and saying every little detail unless they ask? Because that's the right thing to do.
Right.
February is when I decided I'm done. I'm going to do my own thing. And when I told my family, they were in full support. And so February of last year is when I made the decision and came up with my own logo, came up with a name, came up with a slogan, even created my very, very, very first website I had, which is thankfully all gone now. But it's been a learning curve. They held me to a non-compete for an entire year. So June 9th of last year, made a whole year, and that's the day I officially launched. Came out and let people know I'm launching Unfiltered with Kiran, and the following day I put out the very first piece that I had done, and the last, 7 months have flew by, and I don't have time to pause right now. I'm drowning. Which is a very good problem to have.
Right. And look, I know you stay busy because, I might text you and be like, hey, how you doing? And, you're really good at texting people back. And you'll be like, I'm doing great. I'll talk to you in 2 weeks. I was just, but that shows just the path that you're on. And it's amazing to be on that path, especially when it's a path that, is not compromised by anything. It's pure, uncut, unadulterated journalism, which is something that, we're going to get into a little bit later, that I think that the world is missing right now.
Agreed.
Even before we started filming, we were talking about how, media in general just seems it's like in a different place. It's a different space now from when we first started, where, before it used to be just the facts.
Yes.
Report the facts, and now it's like, this station has an agenda, that station has an agenda, or this, this platform is presenting it in this skewed kind of way. And it's weird for me when I see that.
Same.
You have all these different, sites that just pop up, and they're not vetting information, they're just running with it.
It's all about the clicks.
It is, and I hate that, because I feel like, the amount of clicks or the love of the clicks overshadow what media is supposed to really be about. It's supposed to be informative, number one.
Well, and people rely on this information.
They do.
Very much so, and that's what bothers me the most, that we're 20 years in the business. And yes, I am blessed that I have won several awards, but I earned them. I worked very hard for those awards, so I don't take those lightly.
Right.
But all those awards mean the public has that much trust in me. So unfortunately, when a trooper has been laying in a car dead for the last 10, 12 hours, and all of a sudden he's found and there's a gunman running around the neighborhoods, well, guess who the public is turning to for information?
The face that they trust.
And it's not just me, the media in general. And I had a hard time trying to figure out where the media was that day. That really bothered me. And I had just gotten back from being out of town, but I dropped dinner. I still remember my next door neighbor. It was just me and her, and we were like, she goes, I'm going to grill some salmon. Sounds good. I had just...
Favorite fish, by the way.
Oh, isn't it so good?
Delicious.
Oh, and it was just going to be me and her time, and we just hadn't caught up in a while. She literally threw the fillets on the grill. I can hear the sizzle, and I said, I got to go. She goes, oh, okay. She thought I meant bathroom or something. I said, no, I got to roll. And she goes, bye. I got home at 1:30 in the morning, and she had a plate left for me in my kitchen, which meant the world, but I didn't get back till 1:30. But good luck stopping me at that point.
Right.
It's like something within me just says, go do your job. And for people wondering and asking, I'm not making much money right now. Did I make anything going out that night? I don't think so. But I did it for the public.
Right.
And I will continue doing it for the public because I love what I do.
Right. And I'm pretty sure people are probably still wondering, like, why not just go to another station or something like that? And like you were saying, before, when I had to interject about how many awards she's actually had, it's important to put that out there. And, just on a sidebar note, too, she said she's been doing it 20 years, which, 20 years where?
I'm only 21. I started when I was 1 year old. Y'all don't get my age confused now. I'm only 21 for my annual 21st birthday.
But I think it's important to point that out that, and that's why I keep bringing up the awards and the accolades. It's not to to gas you up on anything. It's to show that you have options. You could go to any, you probably have the pick of any station that you want to go to at this point, and could have the security of, getting the regular paycheck and all of these things.
Insurance, all of that. And it bothers me that, what am I going to do long term? Is this going to work? Is this going to work? But I guess I don't have the time right now to focus on long term. That I wake up to phone calls. I go to sleep to phone calls. I wake up to God knows how many text messages, Facebook messages, and one little old me for right now is literally drowning. I mean, I told you that here, I'm drowning. And it's a good problem to have, but again, it bothers me that where is everybody else? And that's not to hit on anyone. That it's not.
Right.
It's not to... People have told me since everything happened that I've been the bigger person, and I'm not going to change that. I'm not going to sit here and dog anybody out, regardless what all happened, and things that still happen when I see people. But it bothers me, being a reporter, that our job is to help the public, to be the voice of the voiceless, to hold the powerful accountable. You can say that's an investigative reporter's job. No, that's a journalist's job.
Yeah.
So where is everyone?
Do you think that the climate of our society in general is playing a major part
100%.
with how journalism is even going about right now?
100%. We have to please the public.
And so...
To avoid losing advertisers.
That's what I was going to say.
To avoid
maybe
upsetting the public. And I'm sorry, I'm going to go ahead and upset you, but I'm going to put the facts out.
Well, I mean, the thing is, information is like medicine. I mean... if you're sick, you have to take it.
You have to know it.
Do we care that it may taste, horrible, but is it going to help us? So, and I guess that's my gripe with, social media in general. I know we use social media as a tool. You use it, I use it as well. But my gripe is there's no vetting process for people who just obtain popularity one day. And then they can just put stuff out. Now they have this huge following, but they don't subscribe to the same journalistic ethics that we have been accompanied by. That come with us, with our training, with where we come from as far as schooling and things of that nature.
Yep. They
don't subscribe to that because they're in it for clicks. I've heard stories about people. They have these different platforms and they'll charge people for interviews, and I'm like, well, it's not an interview then. That's a
paid endorsement.
Exactly. I said that's no longer an interview. Well, no, because it's not an interview at that point.
No, because
you're paid for it. That's why you can't pay to get your song on the radio.
Exactly.
Because that's payola.
Exactly.
And then you start going through this history lesson, and they look at me with this dazed look on their face, and they're like, "What are you talking about?"
They don't know that
because this is the nature of the business that we're in now. Because now there's no guardrails.
Nope.
There's no vetting process. There's no one to come in and say, you're calling yourself a media platform, so now you have to abide by this, and this. I feel like it's really damaging the credibility of what I do, what you do.
Yep, I agree with that 100%.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not alone then.
You're not alone, but I will also tell you this. Maybe it's the willpower in me or the fact that my parents raised me in a way of be strong, just be confident in what you're doing. I'm not letting that get to me. I'm going to still keep doing me. And I know it's one of those that, this, in media, you're supposed to keep watch on the other stations and the other media outlets, the newspaper, websites, whatever, to see what the competition is doing.
Right.
You walk into any newsroom, you'll see TVs.
They got a wall of TVs.
And it's on every channel, from national to local.
Right.
I don't watch the others. I don't care what they're doing. I don't care if I'm an hour late putting something out because my focus is not them. My focus is you. My focus is the public who is following only me for news. And I've had many people tell me, we don't watch anybody else. We don't read anything else but you.
Tunnel vision on the truth.
And I owe it to them, even if there are, right now, with us recording this, if there were breaking news now, I will be 30 minutes late, an hour late to putting it out. It's okay. I'm okay with that. It's not about being first. It's about being accurate.
I was just getting ready to say, See, that's an old rule.
It's the one.
All of my
People don't care about that rule anymore, though.
But if you're watching this, if you've majored in mass communication and broadcasting, that's a rule that's covered in Media 101. It's not about being first, it's about being factual.
Yep.
And I think the climate, again, today is just, we were talking about before we started filming, Tom Brady, before he can even announce that he's retiring, all these media outlets, he's retiring, because it gets leaked. And now it's like,
and it takes
how many
from
clicks?
Him.
Right.
And he's owed that.
Yeah, I feel like, because he's accomplished so much in that game, love him or hate him. I'm not a Tom Brady fan at all.
I'm a Drew Brees fan. I mean, I bleed black and gold.
Right. I'm not a Tom Brady fan at all. But
regardless,
let the man have his moment.
News. Yes.
That was his moment to have, and they stepped on it.
Exactly.
And now it's like you took all the air out of the room for him, so now all he can do is just put out a statement days later like, yeah, I'm
It's
retired.
true, by the way. Yep.
And now, the funny thing is, I was talking to my friend Alex, like the day it happened, I said, they don't realize Tom Brady is petty enough to rescind his retirement and just say, no, I'm staying another year.
Exactly, just to prove somebody wrong.
Yeah, but he didn't let his pettiness get to
in
him.
the way.
But I'm not going to front. I probably would have been petty and said, nah, I'm not retiring. And make it the preseason, like, okay, I'm really retiring. I'm sorry. Just delay it a little bit. But yeah, I have huge issue with that. And like I said, social media is like a double-edged sword because it does allow us to have these platforms. We can invest in equipment, and then now we can create our own platform to get information out there. On the flip side, anybody else can too.
Yep.
And they don't have the credentials, but they may have a moment and they just get popular just like that. And now they got they amassed this huge following. And now you got people, it's like the blind leading the blind at this point now. And you're trying to inject yourself into that and say, wait, hold on. It's not true.
Exactly.
Look at me over here.
Exactly.
And not because I want you to look at me. I want you to have the right information.
And you know what? It's funny you say that. The amount of people who tell me we miss seeing you. Well, I guess I'm not putting it together at that very moment because I'm like, I'm right here.
Right.
I mean, I'm still putting out news, and they're saying, no, we visually miss seeing you on TV.
Right.
And, oh, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not about being on TV. For me, it's about serving the public. And I feel like that's missing, which bothers me. It hurts me being a reporter that it's gone.
Now, we're talking about climate, and I mentioned this before we started filming too. Whoopi Goldberg was recently suspended from The View. You follow that story at all? I know you did because you're a news junkie. Does that kind of go with the climate that we're talking about as far as like anything you say now?
It is.
And
we have such a sensitive society now. I saw the Perfect shirt the other day, and it said that, good Lord, something about just being soft. And if this happened, I don't care. If that happened, I don't care. But you will not get a trophy just for being on a team. And it's true.
Well, that's how it's supposed to be. You got participation awards now.
Yeah, but back in the day, it used to be about first place, second place, and third place, and that's it.
Yeah.
If you're on a team, whoop-de-doo, you're on a dang team.
So, with that, and I mean, just kind of drawing back into that a little bit, with society being so sensitive, because you look at The View is not the news. It's an opinionated show.
Exactly.
So, if her opinion of what she was speaking about may have been wrong or may have been right, but shouldn't it be a discussion as opposed to just suspend her?
Yes, but she works for a network.
This is true.
The network needs the money. So when advertisers did not like what she said, or the big influencers did not like what she said, now they're upset and they're going to the top people and saying, how would you allow this? How would you allow her to be there? So
right.
Now all of a sudden they're strong-armed into, well, we're going to sit here and pull this money. Oh, because it's all about the bottom line at the end of the day.
You got to follow the money trail.
That's it. So, hey, we'll go ahead and suspend her to keep this segment happy.
Right.
But then also we have bills to, and I can't blame them either in one way because they still have bills to pay. But do the right thing. Stand by your morals.
Right. And I mean, I think by suspending her, it kind of does a disservice.
It does.
Again, it's called The View.
Yep. And everybody's entitled to an opinion.
Well, not only entitled to the opinion, but now give the opportunity for real dialogue to happen. So if she's wrong, bring an expert on, and then she could be corrected. If that's if that's the path that we're going on. But and again, and I get what you were saying too, and I understand that as far as you have two sides, you have your advertisers and this and that, but we're also talking about ABC, which is a global company.
Agreed.
I don't think losing an advertiser or two was going to cut the lights off at ABC.
Agreed.
They could have maybe stood by their talent a little bit better than what they did, and
I don't believe.
And then especially she had already apologized.
Well, and I don't believe companies like to stand by their talent anymore.
No.
And I can say that from experience at this point.
Yes, you can.
They will not stand up for the talent. Instead, they're going to do with whatever protects them in the long run. And that's sad. Because as a human being, you sit there and ask yourself, what is corporate America coming down to? You sit there and give somebody 10 years, 20, 30, 40 years of your life, and at the end of the day, you're nothing but a ant building a house for them.
And I guess it didn't used to feel that way.
No, when you and I worked together, we were all a family. We were just talking about how we were all in here one night to come in, watch you, support you. We were all a family. We did things together.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter what color anybody was.
Right. I remember going to it was a Christmas party at
Yes.
your house.
Yep.
And
That was a fun party.
That was a really fun party. And it was people that you look up, you're like, wait a minute, when did they get here?
Yes.
Not people that we worked with.
Yes.
We looked up and, there's the mayor.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. When did you get here?
And there was no preferential treatment.
No, it was all fun. And
Well, I'll go smash you the next day and bombard you with questions, but hey, welcome, or PIOs or whatnot. But we all hung out together.
Yeah.
Now they're not allowed to look at me, or hey, we can't send you press releases. What is happening?
Well, and so this makes me also think about this too. Is there kind of a monopoly on just systems in general? If you look at the media in general, there's nationally there's like the big three. You got
NBC,
NBC, CNN, you got Fox, and you got a couple of others like coming up. You got Newsmax coming up, but you got the big three nationally. Does there need to be something in place where maybe we can try to get more of a viable choice? Because even if you look at from our politics right down to our media, there's not a lot of choice. There's even if you look at politically, you got Democrat, Republican. Yes, they have other parties, but what other party is viable outside of those two? National news, you got CNN, MSNBC, Fox. But what's the other viable choice nationally? You see what I'm saying?
I guess I didn't think of it that way.
Even when you look at your cell phone, I can remember when there was like dozens of cell phone companies. Now you have Verizon.
The big few.
You have T-Mobile, which just bought Sprint, and you got AT&T. You've got three choices.
Yep.
And I'm not opposed to businesses coming together. Great, but now it's getting to a point where there's just no choice, and who gets squeezed is the consumer, because now, okay, you're either going to me, or me, and it's like everyone's buying out everybody. Like T-Mobile just bought Sprint. You have Time Warner. Who were they joining forces with? Time Warner was buying, I think, AT&T or something. I think they were merged. AT&T
I know Sprint and AT&T just merged. No, I'm sorry, Sprint
and T-Mobile.
Yes, just merged.
But I think AT&T was in the process of merging with Time Warner.
Okay.
Which again, for me, you look at it as like, okay, now you it's a little bit too much power, I guess. And now it's like we're yielding the responsibility to just a few people.
Having said that, do you realize one place I interviewed with the news director, and this was a very large market, the news director himself told me our biggest competition right now is independent reporters and independent news.
People are hungry for it, aren't they?
And that surprised me. And this is a very large market.
Really?
Very large. And I was surprised to hear a top news director say that.
I wouldn't have thought that he would say that.
I didn't either. But
or she. You just said news director.
It was a he. Okay. But I was surprised to hear that. But I think the public is just hungry for straight facts.
Yeah. I think it's just lacking.
No opinions, just facts, and wait till you actually have the facts. Don't just... I'll tell you, for example, I had a story where I was told inmates have taken over the juvenile detention center.
Okay.
I had multiple sources telling me that. I waited. I wasn't really dead set on going with it that inmates have taken over the juvenile detention center. This morning, I got a lot more information, and it wasn't that the inmates have taken over. When you hear inmates take over, what do you assume?
You assume chaos and the people that are supposed to be, the prisoners are now running the whole show.
There. 3 juveniles ended up wreaking havoc. Well, that's a much different story than inmates have taken over the juvenile detention center. And I waited. I don't care. I did not care if I was first or last to put it out.
Right.
I waited. And this morning I got a lot more information, and the truth is it was 3 inmates. So I put it out today.
And I really hope people appreciate the time that it takes to get the facts to present to the public.
Yes, one phone call, somebody might read an article and it took them 15 seconds to read it. Well, it may have taken me 2-3 days to gather that information.
Right.
And when you watch an investigation, you know this, from an investigation that could be 5 minutes, and now I don't have a time constraint, so I've done pieces that are plus 30 minutes. Well, it took me maybe 3 months to put that together.
But it was worth it.
It was.
Let me ask you this. Being that you've been, you've got 20 years in, I see the air quotes because, she doesn't look like she's...
I started at 1, just remember that. I hear the chuckle.
with you being independent, but I'm sure just over your years being in journalism, you've got a Rolodex probably full of just contacts.
I do.
How has that been going from being with a station to now being independent? Do you still have access to some of these people?
Nothing's changed.
Are they even more willing to talk now?
Yes. Nothing's changed. Even back in the day, I would get calls all hours of the day, nighttime. Hey, there's a major shooting going on. Multiple people have been shot. And it's 11:30 at night. I still get those calls. And it's not just law enforcement. I still get the calls, and I am blessed. I will always say a reporter is made by its contacts. And that is true. Because otherwise, do I just wait on a press release to get some news? No. People are going to hide things.
Yeah.
Agencies are going to hide what makes them look bad. Your leaks are the ones who are going to tell you what's really going on.
Yeah.
The public, the tips. My tip line is starting to take off like crazy. The amount of people who are coming into the website and submitting tips, it's ridiculous.
Right. Now, with you being independent as well, too, what are, I know you were saying, before you were kind of drowning, but that's a good thing. It's like a good drowning. But on the other side, how has it been getting like advertising and everything as well, too? Because that's always an uphill battle for an independent.
It is. It is 100% an uphill battle. I'm blessed. I think now, 7 months in, people are starting to realize, whoa, wait, we have another option for news.
Right.
And so it took the last 6-7 months to build up to that point. And statistics for January, which just wrapped up, I'm blessed. They were amazing. And I think now people are starting to say, wait, we want to be associated with this person. So again, I'm blessed that now the advertisers are reaching out to me and saying, hey, I want to advertise on this section. Can you give me prices? Can you do this? How do we get with you? So I firmly believe it's coming. And I put my full faith in him. I feel like he's guiding my path. He's the one who made me do this. launched in June. So last year I looked at it as whatever you make, that's great. Whatever you don't make, it's fine. As long as you can make your ends meet, we're good.
Right.
So I didn't walk away making that much, but I walked away pleased with what I'm doing from the heart. And I can look at myself in the mirror every day and say, I'm proud of what you're doing. But now I feel like it's right there.
Right.
I can actually see it now. Before last year, maybe October, November, I had my days of I need to shut this down. This isn't working. How am I going to do this? How am I going to pay my own bills? And I'm working my butt off, but is it getting anywhere? I didn't see it. Now I see it.
Well, what's the rule of thumb? I think when you start a new business, is it takes a certain amount of time for it to really kind of gain the traction that you need, and then after that, it's like boom.
Yep.
Okay, well, and it's good because, again, I feel like there just needs to be more than just a few options. I think that's always needed because when you get to a point where there's only one or two or three options, then
it's a monopoly.
That is a monopoly, and we're not supposed to have monopolies. We're supposed to have other options to really look at, and I said it goes for our media platforms, our cell phones, our cable companies.
Everything.
If you look at this area now, I mean, we have Cox, E-Tail is not
Dish, Direct.
But then you have to look at, but Cox is the only one that covers like everything.
Yes.
Dish and Direct, there are certain channels locally you can't even get.
Yep.
E-Tail is not in every area. AT&T Uverse, they cover local channels, but then they're not in every area as well.
Exactly.
So Cox, in a way, kind of has a bit of a monopoly, and I'm not blaming them. I'm not hating on them.
Same at Demco and Entergy.
This is true.
And that goes for, just like you're saying, any organization.
Yeah, and I think even if you look at the NBA, the NFL, why is there not another viable league? You can't say arena football because that's not a viable comparison to the NFL. You can't even say the Canadian Football League. That's not, the contrast is not there. There should, over this time, and then you ask yourself, okay, but why? Why is there not a second viable choice that can generate as much money as the NFL? And then you start thinking to yourself, well, maybe these leagues have shut down other competitions over the years.
You don't know what all goes on behind the scenes.
You don't.
And I'm not saying you. I'm just saying in general, the public, the way, my grandmother used to always say that I didn't dye my hair gray. I earned my gray hair. Meaning life teaches you lessons. And had you told the 1-year-old me when I first got in the business that
the 1-year-old, the toddler,
yes, that the way things were or are in corporate America, I wouldn't have believed you. Now, 20 years later, I can tell you it's true.
Well, I can remember ESPN had a show called Playmakers. I don't know if you remember that show. Mm-mm. It came on, it was like, I want to say 2003. It was like a dramatic series. It was based off of like a football team, and it was right around the time I think ESPN and ABC were like merging, and they had one season, critical acclaim, ratings were through the roof. Were canceled after one season. Why? The NFL
didn't like it.
Because,
but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because it was like, wait a minute, you're showing players with these secret lives and drug use and coaches covering things up, and this is too close to what may doing. Be true. So the NFL put a threat in, allegedly, to ESPN saying, hey, that comes back for a season 2, you won't have access to any of our games. And come on, do you think ESPN is going to choose a dramatic series or the NFL? They're going to choose the NFL every time.
Corporate America.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by what corporate America really is.
Yeah.
And that's wrong. It is wrong in so many ways, but it's also why I'm loving what I'm doing. My boss is like, I think she's pretty awesome.
You know what? I've met your boss before, and I can say now she is strict about,
Ooh, Ooh.
She's super strict.
Ooh, you don't want to get on her bad side.
But she does seem like a nice person on,
She's
at
pretty
least
awesome.
maybe like on Tuesdays and Thursdays she's nice, The rest of the weeks I'm not sure. I'm not sure. As independents and as journalists, how do we stay optimistic in this current climate? I mean, I know we were saying, you got to do it for the truth, but how do you remain optimistic when you look around and you say, okay, this over here, which is complete, fake, got 1 million views yesterday, and I'm over here with the truth, and I'm doing okay, but I'm not getting 1 million views. How do you stay optimistic with that? You're an independent, you don't have that machine behind you.
For me, I'm not comparing myself. I'm gonna do me, and I'm gonna keep being me. I guess that's the way I look at it. I've done that part where it's like, oh, well, be like this person or be like that person. Do what this person is saying. Do what... I'm a grown adult who knows how to do what I'm doing.
Ooh, grown adult.
Not in height, but...
Definitely not in height, but she grown.
Not in age either. I just started drinking.
Right, because, she only 21. Plus, she only 21.
Only 21.
That's right.
I think you know this. I started actually when I was in high school, though. I started in journalism when I was a senior in high school. So it's also probably why I have a lot of years. This year, in fact, is my 20th year in it.
Man.
And I'm blessed.
That is amazing.
I love what I do. Even when I wake up to phone calls and I curse out my phone that why is it ringing? Why are you dinging? Why do you not stop? Can I throw you in a river? And it's not just one, it's two of them. They don't stop.
She got two.
They are literally, I can show you right now. If I were to show you my Facebook message, I have 18 text messages on this phone. And this one I haven't checked. I try to check my Facebook messages as often as I can. I can't stay above.
Let me say, number one, I feel great that you respond to me when you do as well, because like I said, I know you're busy. You got the two phones.
I do my best to respond to every person. The fact that they take time out, I don't care if it's hey, just checking on you. They took time out and they thought about me to do that. Is the right thing to do, to call them back, text them back, have the decency to respond to somebody. And I feel like we're getting away from that too in today's day and age. Life is too busy. And I said that this past weekend, I was like, I'm taking the time off. And I get it. I am completely digital. It's not something you hear often, but I am 100% digital. And I took a break. And that's not the smart thing to do. I realize that. But I feel like our cell phones are taking over our lives.
Well, it may not be deemed the smart thing to do, but it's the healthy thing to do.
It is. And I got to take me time. Yep.
Yeah. You also have merch.
I do. I should have brought you some. I didn't even think of that.
I've seen some merch, but what we'll do is we'll put up some pictures of the merch as we make reference to it. So you have coffee mugs.
I've got coffee mugs. I've got travel mugs. I have T-shirts. And hats. And then my favorite part though is packaging it all together. And I'm the idiot that some days I'll end up with 20, 30 orders, and then a month will go by and I won't even get one. But I lay it all out in my kitchen. I pack it all up properly, and I put a round sticker on it that I try to say that word 5 times fast. I specifically ordered these round stickers that say your order made my day, or thank you for your orders. I hope this order makes you as happy as it did when I got your order, something like that.
Like a seal on the care package.
Yes, and I love that, and it's so true. And I throw in a bumper sticker for everyone, or a pen, and all that stuff. So when I'm driving and I happen to see my own bumper sticker, I'm like, oh my god,
somebody
follow me, because I don't look at myself as some big wig reporter. I really don't. I am a normal Joe Blow who's in my jammies 90% of the time, and today I finally put on makeup.
Look at that.
And jewelry. Check me out. My
look
nails
at
aren't
the
done.
ensemble.
Don't look at the
She's
nails.
all coordinated today. Looking like an adorable peppermint over there.
But if you run into me at a grocery store, yeah, well, I ain't coordinated then.
Catch you at Walmart at 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Exactly. which is not the safest thing to do anymore in Baton Rouge, which is a different story.
Yeah, it's completely
but my
different
point
story.
is that it's amazing to me that little old me has the trust and respect from the public the way I do. The love, the care. That's a lot for one person to take in that, oh my God. And a journalist, the public makes us.
Yeah.
If they don't trust you, if they don't know you, they don't like you, you're done.
Yeah.
You really are.
Yeah. I know my dad told me a while ago, I'm not going to drop any names about this, but this is a story, and you're probably going to laugh about this. He didn't watch a certain weatherman because he says, I know it's a toupee, and he's lying. If I can't trust him about his hair, then no, I'm not watching him.
You know, the joke with us used to be that when Jay has his sleeves rolled and Kieran's got her red boots on, we need to be careful because my red rain boots only came out when it was time to cover storm damage. And if Jay's sleeves were rolled,
He rolled them
that
sleeves
was
up.
the biggest joke, because if we would, even for 5 minutes, end up in the newsroom at the same time and his sleeves are rolled and my red boots are on, we had to take a photo. That here goes.
Wall to wall. Let's go wall to wall.
Wall to wall.
Might as well just
Better
call
have
it
a
now.
pillow here. Yes.
Oh, I'm glad I don't hear wall to wall anymore.
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't hear wall to wall anymore. I'm so happy about that. Well, what does the future hold for Unfiltered with Karen? And don't worry, we're going to put your lower thirds and everything up too, so people can visit the website.
Oh, thank you.
We didn't say it for the audio, but say the website for everybody to hear that as well, too.
Unfilteredwithkieran.com is the website. YouTube, I've been a little bit slower on the YouTube. That's why I thought I was starting that my channel there is Unfiltered with Kieran. I'm just swamped, and I haven't had as much time to actually go shoot and edit, because I do all that on my own. So there's only one me, but I'm hoping eventually I'm going to be able to do more videos and actual visuals on the YouTube. But there's Instagram, there's Snapchat, there's... what else is there?
All you got to do is just put your name into these platforms, and they can find you.
The majority of them are all Unfiltered with Kieran. I tried to stick to the name, and I actually mean that name.
Okay, she is unfiltered. So
100%.
that means if you catch her in the store and she's in her pajamas, that's unfiltered too. That's going with the brand. Okay?
Well, you know.
It's going with the brand. So last thing before we get out of here, what does the future hold for Unfiltered? Because that's what I was getting at before we said the website. But what does the future hold? What do you see for this year? You know, we're in 2021. Is this our second month of the year?
Did you just say we're in 2021?
2022. Why? My
oh,
gosh. Where is my brain? We're in 2022. And let me correct that one more time. We're in 2022. We're in a brand new year.
I mean, the rest of us are. You can stay in 2021.
No.
We'll come catch you next year. And
My
we'll,
brain is
we'll
already in 2024. My body might be in 2021.
That's an election year, so I'm not there yet.
But what do you see for Unfiltered for this year? You know, last year, like you said, you were kind of launching, getting your feet underneath you and everything. What's the goal for this year? And let me, before you even answer that, people continue to swamp her, continue to drown her. I know she keeps making mention these words. Drown her and swamp her when it comes to, you know, hitting her up and giving her views and giving her tips and stories. Continue that, you know, because it's good. We want to drown her with that, okay? Not maliciously drown her, but really drown her with that. Okay, go.
I mean, maliciously drowning, I'm not the tallest person, so you could just throw a little bit of water in a tub and we're good.
Capsize of water and just drown. Take
See,
this,
and I make fun of myself,
this
too.
Fiji bottled water. Just boom, you're done.
You know, one thing that I have learned is I'm no longer going to limit myself. I remember sitting in job interviews and where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Well, back then, it's one of those, you're just starting out in the profession, so you better have an answer ready.
Right.
I don't do that to myself anymore. The sky's the limit. The moon is the limit. I don't know. Last year, I feel like I went a little further than I had even hoped for myself. This year, I'd like to get advertising going. I need to pick up the financial aspect of it. That's my goal to myself, that I've got to figure out if this is going to make things work long term. That can I walk away with a decent salary on this? Can I get all the things that I'm going to need to have a living? Can I make enough to start hiring staff? Because I can't keep doing this by myself. And keep serving the public. If I can make this grow a little bit more and more and more, that's my goal. but I'm not going to look at it as, okay, by December 31st, I got to do this, which probably I should set a goal for myself. I'm just taking it one day at a time right now because that's all I can do.
Okay. Well, and listen, y'all continue swamping her though. And if you're an intern or if you're a student at a university, hit her up and just ask, what can you do?
Yes.
And then get some credit for it. You know,
Yes.
submit this to your professors and say, hey, I'm gonna intern with Unfiltered with Karen.
Yes.
And that way you can, if she needs you, just run an errand. But you got credit and you get a chance to work with an award-winning journalist. See how I slipped that in there for you?
You cray.
Award-winning journalist. You know, that can be on your resume, folks. Boom.
But before we go, number one, thank you for having me.
Of course.
And to the public, if I'm allowed to say this, I just want to say thank you. Seriously, I'm a nobody without you guys. A nobody without your trust, your support, your love. And I know I already said trust, but your trust in me as not only a reporter, but even as a human being. And I don't take that lightly. So thank you.
Well, Karen, we're going to get out of here. As I always say, you're either at the table or you're on the menu. You decide which one you're going to be. We out. Peace.